Ladies, you'll end up shopping for your guy's deodorant, right? So try Degree's Original Cool Rush. You see, last year, Degree changed the formula, and men were mad. One guy even started a petition. So Degree admitted they messed up and brought the Original Cool Rush scent back. It's clean, crisp, and actually smells like someone you want to cuddle. And it's in Walmart, Target, and other stores now for under $4. So toss one in your cart and find out why it's the best-selling men's antiperspirant for the last decade. Degree Cool Rush is back, and it smells like victory.
This episode is brought to you by Netflix. 3 couples, 4 vacations, a lot to unpack. Watch The 4 Seasons, a new series starring comedy favorites Tina Fey, Steve Carell, Will Forte, Coleman Domingo, and more in a hilarious and heartfelt love letter to long-term relationships. Based on the original Alan Alda film. Watch The 4 Seasons, May 1st, only on Netflix.
This episode is brought to you by Shopify. Forget the frustration of picking commerce platforms when you switch your business to Shopify, the global commerce platform that supercharges your selling wherever you sell. With Shopify, you'll harness the same intuitive features, trusted apps, and powerful analytics used by the world's leading brands. Sign up today for your $1 per month trial period at shopify.com/tech, all lowercase. That's shopify.com/tech.
You're listening to Achtung, Millwall, broadcasting from the beautiful South Burnley. Accept no substitute.
Hello dear listeners, welcome to Achtung Millwall number 736 in the aftermath of that magnificent win in the end over Swansea City on Saturday. Now listeners, just to pre-warn you, I am suffering with a very first world problem in that we have no internet service, which has knocked out most of my ability to produce a half-decent show for you tonight. I'm working from 3G, my iPhone and my iPad, so forgive me for any raggedy edges to this edition. It is the voicemail edition. I'm going to try and get something out to you tonight. I spoke earlier on to Merv Payne via a very, very jagged line. I've managed to salvage the best bits of that conversation with Merv, so big thank you to Merv for taking the time to talk to me. I hope it's listenable, listeners. Big thank you for tuning into this edition, and let's hope and fingers crossed that by the time Saturday comes round that we've got some internet service back and I can produce a regular show. But let's take it over to Merv now, and as I say, forgive the metallic edges to the conversation to listeners. Thank you. Joining me now is another old salt, a man who's been around the track a few times himself, like my good self, listeners. Playoff football has touched us both in our times. It's Merv Payne. How you doing, Merv?
Good, Nick. Yeah, well, as good as you can be in these situations. I don't know why we put ourselves through it, but yeah. I've been going over all the various permutations. I've been boring my wife stupid with it all as the results came in on Saturday. Holding the table up to her face, and she gave that, sort of disinterested if you get off a pet cat. When you people who talk to their cats. Dogs also like nod and feel. Whereas a cat will look at us and say, what are you on about? And look, if we win and then they lose and they don't win. And she's like, right, yeah, okay. She still reminds me of the big tantrum I had when we threw away that half-time lead against Blackburn 2 years ago. Yeah, I had a big plastic. I'd broken my foot at the time. I had a big plastic boot, and I'd only put that through the telly. But,
traumatic afternoon.
Yeah, it's great to be in this situation, isn't it? But
is it absolutely?
Yeah,
I mean,
that's the thing. You think when Alex Neil took over, we looked for all the world like relegation fodder, didn't we? I mean, and it looked.
How many times have we said on this show, book your holidays, Merv? The season's
it looks dire, didn't it? I mean, and obviously we'll touch on this when we get into the nitty gritty of what happened at the weekend. But Hull came down and beat us 1-0, and Oxford came down and beat us 1-0, and you think, this is turning into a nightmare. And you're thinking, is Alex Neil thinking, what the bloody hell have I let myself in for here? But he's turned it around. He's found his way, and the way he wants to play, the way the
absolutely
players clearly happy playing. But I mean, we say there's lots of permutations. What makes it a little bit simple is the fact that Borough play Coventry So they kind of one cancels the other out, or they cancel each other out if they draw. But I just quickly scribbled down the 7 previous seasons we've been in this division, what it took to get 6th place, and the lowest was Sunderland's. Sunderland got 6th place in the playoffs 2 years ago with 69 points. And that was the year we missed out to them. That was the year we handed it to them because we lost to Blackburn. Had we beaten Blackburn, we'd have got in the playoffs with 71. You go back, Derby 75, Derby 74, Swansea 70, Bournemouth 77, Luton 75, and last year Norwich got the last place with 73. So I think we discussed the Monday after the Selhurst Park circus. We discussed the situation, the likes of West Brom and Middlesbrough in them, and we said it was going to be a subpar sort of points total for the really good opportunity to refocus our efforts, put all the Roberts stuff behind us, and refocus our efforts. And I think the next night we were playing Bristol City, and we both agreed Bristol City, it was a must win. You know, if we had any realistic playoff ambitions, we had to beat them. Of course, we didn't.
Yeah.
And I mean, I don't want to be a massive buzzkill, and I'm not saying this. I have this thing ever since I supported Millwall. I've had this thing where you sort of underplay it so that you're not disappointed, but deep down you are anyway. But I'm not just saying it. I just can't help thinking. You look at those points totals for the team. I think we can, even if we beat Burnley, we end up on 69 points. I just think we are going to end up being maybe a win and a draw short. I think we'll look back and say, we shouldn't have conceded against Cardiff in the last minute, or should have held on at Sheffield Wednesday. Oh yeah, I mean Plymouth. But yes, there's been a couple of really freak results thrown in there, which is a shame. But I'm a great believer. I say this every year, and I'll pick through scores and say we should have won that, we should have finished whatever. But the final table never lies. You know, if we end up with 66 points and finish 8th, I mean, yeah, that's what we deserve in a way. But it would be the most Millwall thing ever for us on this occasion. When you think back 2 years, when you think we were expecting to get that last playoff place,
well, we would have done
3-1 up at half time. Yeah,
done brilliantly on the season, wouldn't we?
To go to Burnley and win a playoff place against all odds. But I just feel that there's probably 2 teams I wouldn't want to face in this situation, and that's Burnley or Leeds away, really. Because, you know, my missus actually got a comment out of my missus. She said, well, you know, Burnley might be not be bothered because they're up. It doesn't work like that.
Doesn't work like that. They've got a championship on the line. They will want to keep the pressure on Leeds United for the trophy, won't they? Yeah,
I mean, you're playing a team it's only lost twice all season, unbeaten at home, conceded less than anyone else. I mean, there are a couple of little caveats to that. Obviously, one of those 2 teams that's beaten them is Millwall.
Yep, that's right.
Then, if Leeds beat Bristol City, they're playing tomorrow, do they? Is it tomorrow?
They play tonight. We're speaking on the Monday. Yes. They're playing tonight. And so we need a win for Leeds tonight, really, to keep Bristol in the mix.
1-0, I think Burnley would then need like a 12-goal swing to nick the title.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
You can't imagine Leeds not winning at Elland Road on the last day of the season when they need, a win to win the title. So that probably
might take some of the heat off them. That's right. I mean, number one, the way I've set my little list out here, Merv. Disagree with me wherever you want to butt in. I mean, we need a win. If we don't beat Burnley, forget about
69
it.
69 points is what we need.
Yeah, and then if we don't get a result there, then it's sayonara. That's it, over and done with. We also need our luck to be continuing. Fortune, lady luck to smile on us. Bristol play Preston on that same kickoff on Saturday.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
Preston are in need of they're fighting relegation, and they can go down.
Points to stay up. Yeah, so they'll be up for that one. There is a bit.
You'd hope, So I mean, a win for Bristol probably puts them out of sight.
Yes, they'll be on 70, won't they? Yeah. Well, yeah. Well, if they lose tonight,
if Lady Luck doesn't just smile, but
tonight only draw with Preston, we finish above them as well, which is absolutely mad. It's to think.
It's mad. It's a mad.
Yeah, it is.
Madhouse. I mean, the potential would go on and then we got Coventry playing Middlesbrough. I mean, basically, to put it in the most simple terms, and then we need Bristol to drop points. A draw on either count, I think, probably does us. But we if they both win again, we're kipping because we just don't have
goal
the goal difference.
Play, unfortunately, which again, say it's no, Blackburn. You think Blackburn, you think Plymouth. You think if you're going to lose there, fine, lose 2-1, don't lose bloody 5-1 and 4-1.
Yeah,
but that's what it is, and that's again, could prove to be the difference. I think we're 6 goals worse off than Coventry. I think our goal difference is 0. Coventry's is 6. So,
So 2,000 Millwall going up there Saturday, and none of those will be believing in anything other than a Millwall victory and a playoff spot, because that's the only game in town, though.
They'll be hoping to summon up the spirit of Bristol Rovers away back in 2017 when it looked all over. We slipped out of the top 6, I think, didn't we, for a spell?
For a few minutes late in the game, didn't we? That's right.
Yeah, and although Bristol Rovers weren't in the same position Burnley were, but, it is luck. Obviously plays a massive part in it as well. I mean, I said the table doesn't lie, it doesn't, but
it will.
You see these scenarios planned.
So we need what lucky rabbit's feet you've got going, listeners. Any heather from whatever you got. We need it all.
I think it was the early editions of the Lion Roars. I think someone talked about that, a pair of lucky Millwall pants or something. I think his missus threw him out, and he was like suicidal.
Bring him back. That's why we never made it in 1993-4.
Yeah, but yeah, I think you've got a similar scenario. I'm going back to 2019-20 season when I think Swansea needed like a 4-goal swing over Forest to nick the last place, and they got it. I think Forest lost 2-0 and Swansea won, or Swansea beat Forest, I think, perhaps, and picked them by like 1 goal and got in on 70 points. But that's the sort of scenario we're after. What we don't want is to be 3-0 down by half time, and
no, but we might as well pack our bags and come home if that's the case.
This is what we sign up for when we go when we follow Millwall. So we just have to take it as it is.
I mean, you've said it already, and I want to second it. That it's a magnificent achievement to be having this conversation. Last fixture of the season, one that's been a roller coaster. We've had the whole Neil Harris soap opera, and then a few times we were looking over our shoulders downwards, Merv. When Alex Neil arrived, I mean, if we'd been promised a number of times, we've said again, mid-table respectability was about as much as we could think to hope for.
Yeah.
So to be in the mix at this stage of the season is a huge achievement, and let's not forget, Merv, that I think Alex Neil said he's got 10 first-team players injured at the moment.
We've got the injuries.
It's not a full-strength squad.
I know. I mean,
so to come this far,
we can pick the bones out of what ifs and what coulda, woulda, shoulda all afternoon. But I mean, you could say, what if Alex Neil had come in maybe a month earlier? 6 weeks earlier. Yeah. What if we'd not had the horrendous list of of injuries? We may well have strolled into the playoffs. And I'm talking about Neil. I think you talked about those first few interviews. He looked a little bit. What's the word I'm trying to? He looked a bit bemused by it all. And some people were saying that as he wondered what he's let himself in for. Has he been shocked? Is it worth anything? And I saw the interview with him after the match. Someone posted it on X. And he just exudes confidence, and he seems so at home. And you think someone said he's got there's a touch of the Doc about him. He's like a lot.
There's something there.
There's something there.
There's something.
It's that unspoken Scottish connection, isn't it? That goes back to our heritage, and that sounds a bit schmaltzy.
We seem to relate to, don't we?
Yeah, I remember Alex Ray.
There was an interview. I went to the Player of the Season dinner in the week, Alex Neil did a little short manager's speech at the interview speech, if whatever way you want to call it. And Aaron was interviewing him on stage, and he asked him about how he's found things at Millwall. And what really has come across on that occasion, and also on some of the interviews I've seen on the media, he really seems to have found something that he hasn't had before, which is he described it as being like back home, back on the west coast of Scotland. But he's these small time clubs that are very tightly knit, punching above their weight, and he said he feels a bit like I've found a little piece of home here, which he didn't expect. I got a sense,
and I think he said that as well.
Yeah, Doc said the same in his time, didn't he?
Yeah, and funny. Alex Ray said when he signed, Bob Pearson drove him to the ground, and he was really daunted. His friends and family said, "Oh, it can be really hard living in London. It's like a different world." Yeah. And he said, we turned down Coldblow Lane, I saw a scrapyard, I saw stray dogs walking about, I saw like some tramp falling over drunk on the floor. And he said, for a minute, I thought I'd fallen asleep, and Pearson had taken me back home to Glasgow.
Back to Glasgow.
And he said, I walked in, I thought, I can do this. And that's, I think, what Alex Neil has done. I can do this. This is a slice of me. It's like going to Spain and going in an Irish bar, and suddenly you could be in Dublin. somehow we
harnessed that
same
Scottish principle
from the people who founded the club. Somehow it's in there. Somehow it's in the water, or it's something not of this world, that certain people, certain players, and certain managers seem to pick up on and latch onto. And you feel like he's an absolute perfect fit now, Alex Neil.
He certainly seems to be. Certainly in terms of his management skills, Merv. I mean, I think he's man enough to say when he's made an error or his selection wasn't correct. He's put his hand up and said that, which I think that goes down a long way with our kind of support that we have at Millwall.
Yeah.
But also, he seems an intelligent manager, and
yes, he is
one that is able to adapt and change. We've not really had that for a long time. Maybe McGee going back a few years ago, but a manager with a plan B, where plan A doesn't seem to be working. It's quite refreshing, Merv.
It is, we didn't see much of that with either. And this is not criticism of Harris whatsoever. Because again, we've got to remember the reason we're in this position is down to Neil Harris saving our asses,
saving us from League One. We would have been in League One this season.
I think Harris and to a certain extent Rowett both had, and it's to their credit, not a criticism. They had a set structure. This is the system. And it will keep you up. It will get you. And I think Harris's was it will keep us up. Rowett's was it will get us to touching distance of the playoffs.
But
we were a bit nervous about changing it, and they were a bit wary of they were very much sort of let them worry about us, sort of.
Yeah.
Because as we saw at Plymouth when Alex Neil fessed he got it wrong, but the fact that we've done so well since then shows that it's sometimes it's worth having a little gamble. If it goes wrong, fair enough. But he's confident enough to take that risk and to improve the team.
And not afraid of a bit of attacking football when required. I mean, I was struck by how direct we're going as well, which is meat and drink for me, and I think most Millwall fans, play your football in that final third, as the cliche has it. So, no, I mean, nearly 2,000. I've just not seen on Twitter listers. 1,900 tickets sold. For some, it's the kind of situation that you couldn't ever have expected. I think we've touched on Merv, and you and I have been around the track a few times, and I don't think we deal terribly well with the weight of expectation. The underdog role it almost fits us like a jacket, doesn't it? This is what we're coming into this situation as. We need a big win at a league leading club against all odds. Who knows? But it's our kind of situation, and I think that's the way to try and look at it. Then we need a bit of lady luck elsewhere. So fingers crossed. I was going to say to you, I mean, Japhet Tanganga won the Player of the Season award.
He won the lot, didn't he? I think. Yeah, we're not doing a very good job.
He won the Junior Lions. No, and the goal of the season. Goal of the season was Mihailo Ivanovic, justifiably for that one at Luton. That beautiful long ball forwards and a take on the chest and volley in.
But we were hoping to
Tanganga,
keep the attention away from Tanganga. We've not done a very good job of it by giving him everything. We should have stuck with Liam Roberts, maybe.
I suppose. Now you're touching on something. He withdrew. Merv. He withdrew. I mean, it's going to be an interesting. Obviously, much with the little draws on Saturday, and then who knows whether there's going to be extra fixtures after that, because that's what's on the table, listeners. It's going to be I'm seeing people situation.
A lot of the doom and gloom merchants saying, "Oh, we won't be able to keep Ivanovic beyond next season. He'll be snapped up." And you think, well, I think he's come on in leaps and bounds. I don't think I think he's ready to really be a top championship striker. But if he does that next season, it may well propel us into the Premier League, in which case he won't need to leave. He might.
Yeah, I mean, this is the
about it all.
This is the business model that the club is working to. I mean, I'd probably argue it's always been a kind of version of this, Merv. We've always been a club that's sold talent, which has had to be. But it's set out now as it's kind of there's a framework in which we're trying to operate. Yeah. So at some point, of course, if Ivanovic has scored, was it 12 goals now this season?
Yeah, which is 38 start, which is really, really good. Yeah.
12 goals in the Championship, which is the second tier of English football, then, of course, people are going to be interested. And the price will go up accordingly. So that's kind of the model that we're involved in. So we probably will have to face that at some point. But
I know
we shall see.
I know people hate comparisons, and I've mentioned this a few times before. I'm not obviously comparing totally to Teddy Sheringham, but Teddy Sheringham's first full season was 86, 87. I think before that, he played a handful of games here and there, a few little cameos. He'd been out on loan at Aldershot and in Sweden. But that season, Teddy played every single game, league and cup, 46 league games, I think. He scored, I think he got 13 goals from 50 games. So, and I think Ivanovic has got 12, I think, from about 30 or 36, 37 or 38 starts, I think, and obviously Division 2, 1986-87 Championship now, very different sort of ball game. So,
absolutely different world, isn't it?
I'm not saying for a minute he's the next Teddy Sheringham, I know, because I will get slaughtered for that. But I'm just trying to compare progress of players who perhaps started the season with similar experience, similarly inexperienced, if you like, and how quickly they've adapted. And like Sheringham, again, he scores all sorts of goals, doesn't he? He scores free kicks.
He does. He's a talented boy.
He takes the penalties. He will throw any body part of the ball to get it in the net, which we saw in the FA Cup against Dagenham and Redbridge. He's that sort of striker,
he's developing his layoff as well. Where he puts other players through. I think he's got a lot of development left in him, and I think we're going to see some striker there at some point. Before I let you go, Merv, I just wanted to mention the hero of the afternoon, especially the second half, was our 19-year-old goalkeeper, George Evans.
Goalkeeper George Evans. Yeah, really confused to have another George Evans at the club, but really
plunged into the big time. I mean, what a performance. I thought he looked a bit nervy, although, as I've said before, he wasn't at fault at Blackburn, but he did look a little bit...
Yeah, it's the easy one to dig out, that, isn't it, when you lose 4-1 on his debut and he's 19, et cetera, et cetera. But no, I'm so chuffed. We're in good shape with goalkeepers now.
He reminds me a little bit, and he's, again, early days to be making these comparisons, but Brian Horn was not the biggest of goalkeepers back in the 80s.
I said exactly this, When they named the team for the Blackburn game, Facebook, someone went, we've lost now. He's too short to be. Why did the academy sign him up? He's too short. And I sort of commented. I seem to a certain Brian Horn. I think was he only 5'10"? I might have got that wrong.
Yeah, I'm 5'11", and I remember thinking to myself, I'm actually taller than the Millwall goalkeeper. That don't seem right.
And some of the saves he pulled off, some of the shots he stopped. I mean, he had a real amazing lift. He could. I've seen him tip stuff around the bar, tip out, bring it out, grasp it from the top corner. And he's one of the best keepers we've ever had. And, obviously went on to be a first division goalkeeper with us. So yes, the height. I mean, height's an advantage. Height's great, but it's not everything. There's a lot more to goalkeeping than that. There's a lot of, awareness and shot stopping and stuff like that, So
he made a goal
really
save
for him.
Goal-saving block. The Swansea move. I thought they looked a much more decent side in that second half.
Yeah, they are good.
Right down the middle, like a dagger going through the centre of our defence, and it was put through. And I thought that was a big save, big time moment, and the boy rose to it. So I just want to take my hat off to young George Evans. I don't know if he'll be playing Saturday. I think he's done enough to earn his place. Whether I don't know if Luke Roberts is fit or what the situation is there, but
the Jensen outlook seems very bleak, doesn't it?
That's come out of nowhere. That's
a real shocker.
A chunk of next season.
And the type of injury apparently can cause a lot of
maybe some goalkeeping business again over the summertime. I think.
I do think we have to get in the market for another.
So we'll see. But hats off to George Evans. I think that's all I wanted to say really.
Yeah, absolutely.
At this stage. Merv, I want to say a big thank you. It's been a bit of a hairy old line, listeners. I'm actually first world problems, listeners. I've lost my internet, so I'm working on 3G. So I think we've got a good enough conversation there. I want to say a big thank you to Merv. Perhaps we can talk next week, Merv, after the conclusion.
Let's see if the mood is similarly upbeat or if it's down on the ground. But no, whatever happens, it's been a brilliant.
It's been a rocking season. That's right.
Yeah.
We're going to break for some adverts, listeners, and I'll be back after these messages with the voicemail. Stay tuned.
You're listening to Achtung Millwall, broadcasting from the beautiful South Burnley. Accept no substitute.
Hi Nick, hi listeners, John Rankin just calling in with few reflections on yesterday's match at the Den. Brilliant performance, and a few standout performances for me. George Evans, the goalkeeper, really well done. I mean, he made 3 very good saves, and you could see him growing in confidence. So for me, quite rightly, he was man of the match. Absolutely superb. In front of him were 4 very good defenders. Our 2 fullbacks played very well. Tristan Kammer, and I've got to say, Zach Sturge, what a fantastic player he is. I studied him closely. Really good. He's gonna, if he is with us next season, he's gonna be very stiff competition for Joe Bryan, I can tell you. And for me, he'd probably get the vote. Very good player indeed. Tristan Kremer doing very well again at right back, made some surging runs. And Jake and Jaffet very solid at the back. So once you've got those 5 positions sorted out, you've got a bit of a foundation to build on. First half was good. I thought we had all the run of play. You could see Swansea were in very good form. They moved the ball about very nicely in the middle of the park. And I understand Luka Modric is a part owner now of Swansea, and I don't know if that midfield type of play is already rubbing off on them, but they put the fear of God into you the way they pass it about in the middle and move you around as a team, and then the spaces open up. So a couple of times they made some really good moves, and I thought we're bound to give a go away here, but we didn't. It was nice to see a bit of inventiveness from our free kick. Mihailo lined up for it, but it's on the wrong side for a right footer like him. So, but it was nice that he did that feint, and George Saville passed it across to Femi Aziz, who has got a wicked shot on him. He can really get some power in that left peg. So, and we got a goal from it. It was a bit of a bundle afterwards, but it was still a goal. Second half, a different story really. Swansea came at us, and I think the fact that we knew Luton had beaten Coventry, I think we naturally kind of sat back and just decided, even subconsciously, to kind of sit on what we had and protect that 1-goal lead, which is ever so dangerous, but we did it, So fantastic home game to be at. The occasion was spoilt a little bit by the fans on the pitch at the end, but not as bad as it was a few years previously and the year before. I can understand the kids running on the pitch, but grown men, come on. What are you doing? And unfortunately, it's all the people that run on the pitch, faces that I only ever see for the last game of the season. So I was chatting to a fellow supporter, and the fellow supporter said, "Why aren't you here on a Tuesday night when we're losing 0-1 to Cardiff in the middle of the winter?" So there you go, there's a little observation there. Anyway, listen, whatever happens, it's nice to still have a bit of value going into the last game of the season. So come on, you Lions.
Hello, Nick. Hello, listeners. Ben Anthony calling in. Just a quick one after the Swansea game. Brilliant win, and 2 weeks in a row where results seem to have gone in our favour. Wait and see for what happens in Monday night to see if it can go even further in our favour. And yeah, what a final day just for the league in general. Next week, it's pretty remarkable with relegation, playoffs, and even the league championship all up for grabs in the last day. It's pretty amazing sort of advert for the championship, which I do love. I do think it's a brilliant competition. Um, However, we might not be in it next year. Who knows? I'm trying not to get my hopes up too much. We're not there. We've got a big ask next week. That's a tough old game and a big challenge. But we've got to give it our best, give it our all, see what we can do. The players have worked so hard, and I think that's the biggest thing. I just want to sort of give a bit of respect to the squad and to Alex Neil, because they have what they've produced has been pretty remarkable, and the feeling around the club is so positive. And whatever happens next week, and whatever happens at the end of this season, the future seems to be bright at this club, and things are moving in the right direction. George Evans, the latest to come through sort of our academy and make an impact on the first team. I think
was absolutely superb yesterday and fully deserving of that Man of the Match award. You've got some real talent in this club, and a lot of them are injured. So hopefully next season we can get them back and have a real good go at things. So yeah, whatever happens, it's been a fantastic season, and yeah, hopefully we're not done yet. All right, speak soon. Come on, you Lions.
Hiya, Nick Glynn here. So, yeah, unbelievable. Can't believe we're going to Burnley with a chance of making the playoffs. Um, I'm going to say that, I mean, looking at some of the players that we've signed, and players like Sturger, I really hope we keep. And I am a big fan of Coburn. I think Coburn is, what is he, 20 years old? He's still developing. He's still very young, and he's performing well enough. I think him and Ivanovic will be a very different proposition next season once they've had a summer of preparation under their belt. And I hope we can keep him, because I think he's got huge potential, as much as Ivanovic does as well. And they will become more clinical going forward. But I want to just say that I think, as much as it's great to be in with a shout at the playoffs, I think a playoff push right now would be quite disruptive to our summer plans. And I'm just wondering if in the long run, are we better off maybe just missing out and having a sort of real squad refresh and make sure everybody's fit and fighting to come in for pre-season. I mean, we're not going to win the playoffs, put it that way. And I do worry about the transition that the club has gone through. We started the season, the club at war with itself internally, to suddenly being united under this new regime of bringing young players through and selling on for profit. And I'm fully behind all that. I think to go through that and then to be promoted to the Premier League in one season, I just worry about the disruption that would cause within the club. And I don't think we're a club that's capable of managing something like that without falling very hard and very quickly afterwards. And, I'm reminded of when Sunderland got up and then came down and then dropped down two relegations in a row. It took them a long time to get back up as well. So, yeah, I'm gonna say I think right now, I think promotion to the Premier League would be a bad thing for us. So I hope in many ways we don't do it. But look, it'd be a great achievement to get into the playoffs. I think another season of bedding in these young players, bringing in a few more talented youngsters, and maybe just moving on a couple of the older players from the squad that don't really play a role anymore, is probably the best thing for the club in the long run. And, hopefully by then we'll have a revenue stream of young talent coming through the system that will allow the club to go to the Premier League and maybe have a better shot at staying up. So, yeah, it sounds negative. I mean, look, you take your promotions when they come, right? I mean, I'm old enough to remember seeing Millwall in that top division. And that first season was great. The second season was hard watching. We had a great start and then dropped like a stone, didn't we, after Christmas? So I just think maybe one more season in the Championship is probably the best thing for Millwall long term. Anyway, come on, you Lions, on to Burnley. Let's smash them and go to the Premier League.
Hello, Nick. It's Hassan here. My God, this is just unbelievable, isn't it? I think I said quite a while back, it's an achievement of this squad and Alex Neil that if this team can get to the last day of the season with something to play for, it's been an achievement and it's been a success this season. But the fact that we can go into that last day, I haven't actually seen the table properly, but I'm pretty sure we're level on points with Cov, who they've completely bottled it. So we got to go to we can go to Burnley now, get a result. Sounds easier said than done. And fuck me, mate, we're 3 games from the Premier League. I never thought I'd be saying that at the turn of the year. And honestly, what this team, I can't speak them highly enough of them. They're all giving it their all. Every single one of them. One player drops out, another one comes in. He's 100% all the way. Not one of them is lacking effort. And I think they've got a lot of belief now. And we're looking good. We're not scraping wins. We're looking good for our wins. I know it was 1-0 today. It should have been more. We did have a couple of good chances. We've hit the woodwork. And at the other end, George Evans, a man of the match, rightly so, I'd say. Him and you can pick out a few players I think, for man of the match today. Evans, obviously, 3 match winning saves. Zach Sturge, absolutely fantastic. You could see Swansea's game plan was to use I think he was number 35, don't know his name, and Zach Sturge had him in his pocket the whole game. Absolutely brilliant. And come the summer, I don't know what league we're going to be in. Let's say if we're still in the Championship. If we've got something on the table with Chelsea, I think we should look to explore it. I think I said it before. What a player! He looks very comfortable at left back. He can go forward, but he can defend. He's a very good defender. He can do both sides of the game really well. So hats off to him. He did well. Cooper and Tanganga, solid as usual. Kramer, again, potential man of the match. That boy does not put a foot wrong. Honestly, he reads the game so well. The 50-50s, he always comes out on top. What a defender! I'm shocked that Brentford would let him go. I love to see the defenders who are in front of him at Brentford. They must be like Palamardini or something. Because what a defender, honestly, absolutely brilliant. Saville, probably one of his best games in the Millwall shirt. Absolutely bossed it today, and topped it off with a good goal as well. He played really well. So I'm not the biggest fan of Sav, but he done really well today. I'll take my hat off to him. Dinor, again, another monster performance. Kundal, I think we need to reassess his positioning at the club, because I think he was brought in to play as a 10, as the playmaker. Apart from the first game, he wasn't doing it. However, we've now changed system, and he's not really a left winger. He's not an Aziz. He's not a Negley. He's not going to get down the wing. He's a very busy midfielder who's trying to get stuck in. But yeah, I mean, I'm not going to be down about it. At the end of the day, it's a brilliant day, brilliant result, and we should all be positive. Aziz, fantastic again. Unlucky not to get a couple of goals, but he's just got better and better as the season's gone on. And Coburn, I'll be honest with you, Coburn, I don't know how his shirt is intact by the time he came off the pitch, especially at half time. They pulled him from pillar to post, those centre backs, and I thought they were pretty good. They handled Coburn and Ivanovic quite well, but not for lack of effort from them two. They put themselves about and did what they could. I thought the substitute, he changed system, and I think it opened us up a bit more, which was a little bit concerning. It's the first time I think I've seen under Alex Neil where I sort of questioned his change of tactics. I thought, hold on a minute, what's going on here? But thankfully, it came to nothing. The players who came on, gave it their all. Honeyman, even Wintle, he gave that extra bit of oomph in the middle. It gave a few vital blocks where it mattered. But mate, we go to Burnley. After the Borough game, I quickly rushed to the ticket office and got my Blackburn ticket, because I thought, right, this is what it means now. But I think next week I'm going to sit it out. I can't face that journey up to Lancashire again for a very early kick-off as well. I think I'll take comfort in watching it from home. But again, I'll take my hat off to the boys. No matter what happens, I think the reason why we got more chance of probably getting in the playoffs, there's no pressure. There's absolutely no pressure. If we miss out, if we get smashed 5-0 by Burnley next week, couldn't care less, right? They've done everything they could, this team. And up against all of everything, injuries, suspensions, it was, it's been a hard slog this second part of the season. And since Alex Neil's come in, it's been relentless, isn't it? Game after game after game. Not be able to pick in the same team constantly. It must be difficult. It must be frustrating. If he had any hair, he'd be tearing it out. But no, I'm actually quite chilled about next week. There's nothing to be nervous about. We've done all we can to get to Burnley with a chance of winning. At no point did we say, oh yeah, we're not like Coventry or even Middlesbrough, who spent the majority of the season in and around the top 6, who are desperate to get into the Prem, because that's what they set their stall out for from the start of the season when they're buying players and throwing the big money around. We're not. We do as best we can, and as I said before, I'm always glass half full, especially with this season. And I wish all the players all the best for next week, and anyone going up there, have a good day. And you know what? If we can get a result, well, we'll see what happens. If we do get in, it looks like we might have Sheffield United, which I'll take all day, because they are absolutely on the fucking ropes. if we do finish 6th and we get Sheffield United, I know we've got to play them second leg at their ground, but we've beat them already this season, mate. So you can never say never. All right, mate. Over and out. Bye-bye.
Morning, Nick. Jim Hackett here. After yesterday's fantastic win against Swansea that somehow keeps us in there, keeps us going for another week. And if you'd have said at the beginning of the season this is where we'd end up with a final game decider, if you like, at Burnley, then how fantastic we would have took that. So all credit to everybody involved in the season, and the fact that we've got to that last game and we've still got an interest in it, then it really is fantastic. In terms of the game yesterday, I thought it was a really in-between game. Swansea had nothing to play for, and you can see that they're a tidy footballing side, but they don't really carry a threat, or they didn't carry a threat until they brought the big guy on, and he seemed to change the game for them. And our centre-halves didn't look half as comfortable once he was there, because he had a couple of chances really to put the ball in our net. Missed them both, which is good news, because I thought George Evans deserved the clean sheet yesterday. He did everything he had to do. You can see by his size when he stood against a couple of our senior players that he's still a little bit short for a goalkeeper. But you know what? He is what we've got, and we're making the best of it, and he's definitely making the best of his opportunity. So there was no complaints yesterday about that. I think the back four, they suddenly, I thought, once the big guy did come on for Swansea, our back four looks a little bit shaky, not as comfortable as they had done when they were playing against the smaller players, I suppose is the way to put it. But overall, good first half, possibly 2 or 3 goals we should have been up by half time, but we'll take the one. And what a nice sort of, not creative goal, but a goal we deserved on the balance of play, but also a different free kick where the ball does ping around a bit, and it happens a lot. When we get balls put into the box and it pings around, we never get on the end of it. Yesterday it went in slightly different, probably not what they expected, and we ended up with a fantastic goal from Saville. So very happy with that. A shame we couldn't get 1 or 2 others, because there was chances, and Aziz was a bit unlucky, and somebody else hit the bar at one point. It's just how it is, isn't it? We get 1-0 and then we proved difficult to beat, and we were looking comfortable, looking like we could create a breakaway goal. But then I think players' legs ran out a little bit, and then, like I say, the Swansea made the changes that forced us to defend a little bit more, and well, I say see the game out, but we struggled to see the game out, but eventually we did, and that's been the story of our season, isn't it? Where we're getting results against good sides. Swansea 1-5 on the spin, and they come to us and we beat them. It's just that sort of season for us, and now we're going against Burnley. I don't think, and I'm using my head saying that I don't think we'll get anything at Burnley, but you know what? It's just like us to actually do something, sneak into the playoffs, and then have all the stress that comes with that. For me, I'm quite happy if we don't get in the playoffs. I know it's what it is, but once you get there, then there's an expectation rises, and I don't think our squad's strong enough or big enough to cope with that expectation. But do you know what? Alex Neil is getting the tune out of everybody, and well, say long may it continue. Let's hope it does continue, because it's fantastic to still have an interest. In terms of players, I thought everybody put a shift in yesterday. I think they sort of run out of steam towards the end, but I think Kundal was a bit more busy, a bit more lively, putting nice little challenges in. And in the first half, I thought he did his bit, to tuck in, and he was like a Honeyman light. And then it was quite surprising to see George Honeyman come on the pitch for him, because when he did come on, you could see what we get with Honeyman. There's a lot of buzzing around. He turns up in all different parts of the field and creates problems for the opposition. So again, the Honeyman haters, maybe they should look at that and think what he does offer us rather than what he doesn't offer us, as it was earlier in the season. But we're now at that point where, the style we've got, the 2 up front, everything that goes with that lends itself to a battling football match rather than a lovely technical fest that everybody can get into and look at what we do in the Premier League. I think for us, if we can continue playing this way just for next week and then see where that leads, then I'm quite happy that we've found a system. Alex Neil's found a system somehow that works for us, works for the club, works for the supporters, and I think we can't ask for any more. So on we go to Burnley. It will be a great week to look forward to, and then we'll get the Saturday at 12:30, and everybody will be quaking and stressing about what can happen. But you know what? We've done our bit. The players have done their bit. It's now down to everybody getting together next Saturday, 12:30, and off we go for the next stage of getting to the promised land. So I think I'll leave it there because I won't go through the players and next season. I think that's another conversation to have maybe after next week. But overall, we can't be disappointed. Man of the match for me yesterday, difficult. I think George Evans, by the mere fact that he's a young lad and he made some crucial saves at the crucial times, and I'm happy with that. But we've still got Femi, who looks so dangerous every time he gets the ball. And where he gets energy from, I've got no idea. But I thought the midfield too played well as well. So yesterday, happy. Now we move on to next Saturday. So come on, you Lions.
All right, Nick, it's Lawrence Binney here calling in after Millwall 1, Swansea 0. Oh, that was a bit tight at the end, wasn't it? I thought actually in that first half, we sort of picked up where we left off from the Borough and the Norwich games. 4-4-2 seems to suit us really well, but my dad observed quite early on that we were playing the game at quite a frenetic pace. It was quite chaotic football, with the two men up top. Swansea looked very neat and tidy, but what you can see is that they have obvious flaws in the first and final thirds, often putting together good moves for not having anyone in there to finish, but also playing a really suicidally high line, which really helped us because I felt that Coburn and Ivanovic really gave their defenders something to think about, and they looked very nervous whenever they had the ball, which allowed us to get in behind them a few times. Coburn needs to do a lot better with that chance. It's not the easiest chance in the world because he's never quite got the ball as far in front of him as he'd like to come onto and hit. So it sort of gets stuck underneath him when he shoots. He's sort of becoming a bit of a nuisance striker for us rather than Matt Smith type that I think we've kind of had it pegged as, or some people I think charitably compare him to Richard Sadlier. But there's a lot of raw talent there, and I still like us to sign him in the summer. In terms of the stand-up performance as well, I don't think you can really look past George Evans today as a 19-year-old keeper coming into a pressure cooker atmosphere with a lot on the line. He bailed us out. I mean, in that second half especially, that could have been another Blackburn scenario from a couple of years ago where we folded, but he kept us in it. Sturge, I thought, looked, especially in the first half, just every inch of Premier League wing back. So assured on the ball, so calm, positioning fantastic. I'd love for us to at least get him on another loan next season based on the last couple of performances, but I don't know how feasible that is. So in the end, fairly lucky to come away with 3 points. Swansea a decent side. We looked quite nervous, or maybe it was tired legs, who knows. We're going into the final day with it almost, not quite, but almost within our own hands. Funnily enough, everyone's looking at the permutations. I actually think the permutations will work out for us on next weekend. The real question is whether we can go and beat a Burnley side that haven't lost at home all season, even without Zian Fleming. That seems like a big ask, but we've got nothing to lose, everything to gain. Fuck it. Come on, you Lions. Cheers, Nick.
Oh, hello, Nick. It's Martin Colwell here. Ringing in on a Sunday morning after the hectic Swansea game yesterday. A great win, if not a great performance. I thought we started really well. No surprises with the team setup. We went really well, but then Swansea seemed to be coming out and having a go as well, which made for an open game. Really good chance early on. I think I said to you on the last voicemail that I thought Coburn was a bit clumsy, and I'm still of that opinion because he doesn't seem to be able to take the ball into his stride. I don't know if he was tired or he's carrying injury. He looked stiff as well to me yesterday. He wasn't as fluent as Ivanovic over the ground. But yeah, I mean, completely messed up the free kick that brought us the goal, but managed to scramble it in somehow, and then Femi Aziz almost got a second straight after, which would have been good because we did need that 2-goal lead, because you could see that Swansea weren't going to stop coming for us, coming to get us, because they were playing open. But they lacked a striker as well. The second half was, I thought we were really poor in the second half. A real struggle for 50 odd minutes. Okay, there were lots of chances at both ends and some good goalkeeping from our man of the match, but some woeful finishing from both teams. I thought, it could have easily been 3-3 that match, really. With the chances that were coming and going and the poor finishing that was going on. As I say, it was open, and we were hanging on by the skin of our teeth, really, at the end, getting over the line there, But yeah, got there, got it done, and off to Burnley now on next Sunday. I'm away on holiday. I didn't think we would go down. I didn't think we'd have a relegation battle. I'd have seen kind of mid-table, but I certainly didn't think we'd be playing the last game for the playoffs, which is a big achievement for all of the team. As I say, I agree with man of the match choice with George Evans, who had a really good game and made some good saves when Swansea managed to get the ball on target and was commanding, and that's really promising for the future because of the condition of our goalies at the moment for start next season. I thought Luke Cundle struggled again. I don't know whether he's playing in his right position. I know there was some chat about him being a bit weak, but I just don't know whether he's playing in his right position. He just seems to either rush with the ball or give it away. And I was also worried when Imarku came on, because he wasn't for about the first 10 minutes of him coming on, he wasn't tracking back and leaving Zach Sturge to deal with their attack on his own. But I think someone must have said something to him, because I noticed at the end he was coming back and he was clearing the ball. So yeah, that was a problem. I thought our real danger man was Femi Aziz, but he seemed to lose it a bit the second half, and I know they changed him over onto the other side, but as I say, I don't know whether he's carrying an injury or was just tired. But yeah, over the line, off to Burnley. Bristol City are at Leeds on Monday, so perhaps if they lose, that'll build up the tension there. But we'll certainly have to play a lot better than that next week at Burnley, because they thrashed an overrated QPR team 5-0 at home. But 5-0 is 5-0, isn't it? But yeah, well done the lads. On to next week. Fingers and toes crossed, and come on you Lions.
This podcast is part of the Sports Social Podcast Network.